Hello everyone, my name is Tiffany. I'm the Tipsy artist. Today we are painting this beautiful painting called Love and Light, and it's definitely a fun painting that evokes the feelings of summer and good times. And this is actually an older painting for me. Gosh, I'm trying to think when I first did this. Probably back in about 2015, when we were doing this in all of our live classes and studio classes. But it is very fun and easy, definitely made for beginners. The traceable that we'll get to here in a minute has all the line art that makes it really easy for you. So we'll get to that in just a few seconds, but I wanted to give you a visual of this. I normally show the really big piece that we work from, and it's in storage somewhere, and I have over 1,000 paintings in storage, I have a lot. So it was too much for me to find, so I made a copy and I just thought, well, this will be good enough for today. But I wanted to take a quick moment to say hi from the studio, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into the class here, and we're going to have a really nice up close and personal view for y'all while I work so that you can see that really closely. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch camera views here. It is, okay. All right. So that's my little visual here. Okay, so yay, here I am, ready. All right, so we have our traceable here. And again, it's got everything mapped out for you. Your kit gives you all the supplies that you need. You can order that at tipsyartist.com. And we've got your fresh paint, and your tools will come like this inside the box. And then the only thing that you need to get is your water. I have everything else, the transfer, the traceable, the paper here, the canvas, the plates, the napkins, the brushes, all that good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about how to do this first. So the first thing I want to do is I want to place my transfer paper on the canvas. And by the way, I've worked ahead, so you're going to get a nice blank white canvas. So I worked ahead a little bit here, but I only tape up at the top. All right, just like that. Okay. And then you want to make sure, this is important, that the dull gray side faces up and the shiny blackest side faces down. That's going to help make that transfer happen. Then on this particular design, we just go ahead and level up the end of the page there with the end of the canvas. And I'm just going to center it, just kind of eyeball up at center right in the middle. And then we'll do 2 pieces of tape here. And then your kit comes with a pencil. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just trace over every line. So a couple of things I'm going to tell you about all of this background here, the love and the light and the dashes and the little circles. If you feel like you're pretty well equipped to do decent handwriting with painting, and painting's not your first rodeo, so to speak, sometimes it's easier just to paint all this in black, and you could literally just freehand in all of this because it's pretty easy to freehand. If you don't feel so confident with that, then of course I encourage you to just go ahead and trace all of it like I will have shown here in the model. But know that these elements are extremely simple, and then I would only encourage you to definitely trace around the Adirondack chair. So I wanted to give you that option, just kind of depending on your level of how you are with art and drawing and everything. So you could kind of take that into consideration. All right, but I am going to go ahead and show you, basically you would just go through all this. You'd put me on pause and then go ahead and do all of your trace. Now, helpful hints for the lettering. If you're going to keep my lettering and do this, then what I would do is, just trace around every line. Be very careful that when you do the inner circles, that you kind of make sure that that's on the line or outside of the line. You want to make sure that the negative space in and around those letters has a bigger circle. If you do the line inside of it, you're going to close off that circle, and you're going to close the feeling of that letter. So I left one of these blank here so you can see. So I'm going to take that line a little bit around that line. So don't go on the inside of it, go around the outside of it. and that way it shows up really well. Okay. And then, just continue again, just act like you're drawing, just draw right over the top of those lines. And then that will make the transfer. And then let me go ahead and lift off. Oh, real quick, before you completely untape here, you do want to make sure that you get all the details because it's really impossible to come back and reline all this up. So that's why we only tape up at the top. That way you can lift up and check your work as you go. So I know I'm good. So I'm ready to lift off here. All right. And then we have a permanent marker in your kit, and this is definitely extremely helpful for this. So I do a hard line around everything, especially with all the black background. It just really helps beginners a lot. And it helps a lot too with, making sure that your black outline around this, you don't have to do tremendously tedious cut-in work. And you can actually come in and do a little bit of a thicker line around the edges of the Adirondack chairs as well, just to really make sure that your cut-in work is a lot more simplified. So if I can kind of double up on that. So that's another option for you. And I did go ahead and blacken in every area that was, going to be black. It's also really, really helpful. So, but you can do a little bit more of this too, if you just want to give yourself a little bit more of a help. And definitely coming in and around the letters, really helpful. And then, so this little guy has got a little bit of blackened in there. We'll do a little line there for the blackened in section there. And then other than that, we are good to go. So again, this is a step where you can blacken in all this, just put me on pause and then restart when you're ready and caught up. All right, so I'm going to place these two tools off to the side. And then I've got my paint open. You'll have to open up your box of paints. And then as we open each one by one, there's a little silver foil liner that will come off the top. That's very helpful. You'll want to make sure and undo that too. I don't know if any of mine still have that. Maybe my white still does. I've been using these paints. So yeah, so it'll look like that. So you want to take that off before you go to use the paint. And then you always want to be sure and recap. And that way it'll keep your paint preserved. So just to give you an idea of how great and long lasting these are, this is my third painting on just this set. So that's some really encouraging news. And you can see how full like all the tubes still look. So that's awesome. It's a great value. All right. I've got my little plates here. Okay. You'll have two plates in your kit. I've got a little bit of a head start here with some of the paint that I have out. I've got some titanium white out and I have some Mars black out here to the side. And then your brushes will be brand new. So hold on a second. I have an old. I was doing some pouncing with a little buddy earlier, and this is actually a used. You're going to have moves. So I'm going to place this guy off to the side. All right. Okay. Now I am ready. Okay, so let's see here. We're going to go ahead and start with our turquoise chairs. That's going to be our first step. So we need some primary cyan blue. Do a little dollop there of that. And then we're going to grab some Viridian. A dollop of that. And then our brushes are here. I forgot to introduce them. Oops. All right, so we have Mama. And then we have Little Buddy. And then we have Little Bit. Okay. And let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and get started with, we're going to start with Little Buddy. So I'm going to, let's put him in the water just a little bit and then dry off. And then we're going to take, a dollop of the white, dollop of the blue, dollop of the Viridian. We're going to mix all those together. And that's going to give us our Viridian. I'm sorry, our turquoise. I'm a little out of it this morning. We've had some family drama this morning. My mind's a little oopsie. All right. So turquoise. All right, so we have our white, we have our blue, and we have our Viridian. Gonna mix all that up. It's gonna make turquoise. I promise everything's better now in our family, but it's actually not like it's just a little bit a jump in the family tree. But yeah, so it's not like in my house drama, but yeah. But it's all good now. But this is why we paint, so we can feel better. We can not think about those things. That's what I love. All right. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a press here into the turquoise, and we're gonna go ahead and work this into the Adirondack chair. So we're gonna get in those big sections first. And you can do a little bit of an overpaint on that grass. And just gonna hold straight line up against that edge. And this little section here. Do a little pull down from there. Hold that little corner. And just kind of ease down into the grass there. It's quite lovely. And then we'll continue to work into the larger sections here. When it gets to be, we're going to get there pretty quick, but when we get to be close to a tiny area where we need that turquoise blue, then we're going to have to switch over to our little bit brush. But we're just going to keep all that black intact. And you can kind of turn the canvas a little bit too to get a better angle and work into those different areas here. Hold it like a pencil and you can let the line edge of that brush work into that space. And it's just carefully working into the chair. Getting into those areas as best as we can with this bigger brush. All right, and we'll just continue. Same thing with the other chair, just getting the biggest blocks of that color with this bigger brush as much as we can. We're going to be switching over to the smaller brush here a little bit. Let's actually mix up a little bit more. Hold on, I'm gonna let my puppy in. Oh, let's just continue on here. And by the way, on these Adirondack chairs, we do give a color mixing guide. So if you want to do a different color, you certainly can. You can definitely customize this to make these chairs any color that you want. And then watch how I hold the handle. So again, more like a pencil when I'm doing a line edge. And then when you want to turn to the flat side of the brush, then you hold it more parallel to the canvas. And I'm going to be very neat and tidy with the straight lines of the Adirondack chair, but when I get near the grass, I can do a slight overpaint there. And just continue looking into these small details here. Straight lines. And remember, if you need to do a little bit of cleanup work with the black after you paint, real easy to do that. Just want to make sure and wait for all the blue to dry. And then you can use your permanent marker again too to do a little tidying up with your black marker. Right next to that edge. I'm coming in really tight with the little buddy brush, but I'm going to show you what it feels like to use the little bit brush here in a minute. And that may be the brush that you're more comfortable with for these tinier little maneuvers in here. But just like you hold a pencil, go straight down. All right, so we have a little spot there. I'm gonna squeegee out the rest of the paint, rinse out, dry off. We're gonna take the little bit brush and grab a little bit of water, go into that turquoise, do a little twirl. And then we can hold this like a pencil and just work on those little tiny areas. All right, and just remember, if there's any tidying up you need to do with the black coming back from the other direction, you just have to wait for all that blue to dry, and then you can come back in. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and rinse out, dry off. All right, now is a lot of black cut-in work. So it's just, you have to be really patient with this process. And again, you can do more with the permanent marker if you want to, if you struggle a little bit with a, like having a steady hand. But we're going to start with our little bit brush here. Go into it. You can also add a little bit of water to help make that paint a little bit more fluid and easier to move. A little twirl. And then we're going to start that cut in with the smaller brush around those smaller areas. And then once we have the small detailed work done, then we can come back in with our bigger brush and work into the bigger part. I'm just going to get a nice line of paint around all of these small little details. And I'm sure you can already start to feel how much easier the permanent marker has made it. Make sure that you go slow, be patient with the process. You want to make sure you're putting the black into the right area. So you get in a hurry, sometimes you can blacken the wrong area. So you just want to be careful. So we have a lot of details done. I'm going to make sure we get in and around all these letters. And then I'm going to work on a bigger brush just for a little bit. And we're going to go back and use our mama. So I'm going to add a little bit of water. A little more of that black. That's our Mars black. And when we start to work this into the background, you want to work it in a little cross strokes back and forth because you do see a little bit of textural pattern in the background. And you don't want to just go in splotchy little strokes like this and this. You want it to have a nice pattern to it. So I crisscross back and forth so that when the light does reflect on it after it dries in a nice textural pattern. So crisscross back and forth. Cross. under that grass a little bit. I'm gonna do as much cutting work as I can with the bigger brush. And then the part that was done with marker, I'm gonna go ahead and just do a little bit of a overcoat with paint just right over the top here. Just get that nice texture in there. And about as much as I can, I'm gonna go back to Little Buddy. I can work in this little area here. Just going over those little black sections. Mhm. Now those little lines like that, again, if you want to do that with the permanent marker, you can. And just reinforce those lines. and some of that cleanup. I'm doing it with a little bit of paint, but either way, you just, if you do the permanent marker, just wait for all the paint to completely dry. Little spots over here. And then kind of look for little peekaboo white parts in the canvas and make sure you get all those covered. Sometimes it takes a while to see them on. You have to kind of like turn the canvas in different ways that the light hits to really double check. And any feathering out, again, just kind of crisscross the pattern of it so that it dries in a nice pattern. Oh, it's looking beautiful. Let's bring those out. And then I'm gonna do a little bit more tidying up here with the black and a little bit. A little twirl. Three. And a little bit black here. Mhm. See, a little area I need to tighten up here. Take another little look-see. All right. Okay, now our cute little stars, I created those with actual star shapes and then also little circular shapes. I'm going to be using the primary yellow and also some of the titanium white, but I have some on my plate here. I'll grab a little bit of white and that primary yellow. Do a little twirl into that, and we're going to start with some of those fun little circles. So it's almost like you're making just a little loop. right over the top. Do a twirl, and then a little loop. And you can't let it completely set up and dry if you're concerned about picking up a little bit of black. I'm just having to use a really gentle hand here. And again, a little loop. It looks like you make little donuts. Mm. And I'm going to give this a little turn so that I can get to a better angle, but a little twist into that paint. I'm just going to continue those little donut shapes. I don't know if y'all can hear the hammering. I hope not. It's pretty loud. All right, and again, little donut shapes. And if you do completely close off the little black dot in the middle, I'm going to teach you how you can reclaim that here in a second. I'll leave that one closed off and show you one. So you can take the end of your brush and you can dip into the black and you can just do a little black hole again right in the middle, just like that. All right, now I'm going to work on my little stars here. So again, a little water. Go into that primary yellow and a white, do a little twirl into that paint. And we're just going to follow the inside here. I picked up a little wet black, so I just kind of squeegee that off and then re-twirled into my light white and yellow. And these stars are definitely very childlike. So you don't have to worry about being really all that precise on it. We're just working into that shape. Twirl. A little straight line here, and then back into that point. Let's turn the other direction. Just going to kind of lay on it. turn the handle more over to the side, just kind of add a little more color right over the top. Turn this way. Do that little twirl into the paint, get a nice fine point again. So again, adding a little bit of water to the paint and then doing that twirl will get the point nice and fine again if you're, having a little bit of thickness at the end of the brush. So again, remember to keep twirling into it. Let's get a bit more of that. Now we're going to grab a little bit more just the pure white. So I'm going to blend out. And we're just going to go in with some pure white now. Put a little bit of water in there. Swirl. And then we're just going to push and then do a little pull. And then a push and then a pull. We'll go over it again to add a little bit more of an opaque finish. Turn this to get to the other side. Get a little push down and then pull. Push down, pull. Push down, pull. Okay, that's those little highlights in the sky there. And then we can start to come in over the top of our lettering. So again, we want some white, a little bit of water in there to make the paint more fluid, easier to move. Remember to keep doing that little twirl on the end. And then we're going to go ahead and just go right over the top. Just to give that paint finish. And remember to, go around those little circles with enough distance so that you're not closing off that loop, like in the middle of the E and the O. It's like here, we're going to go around the outside. See, we took a wide turn. Helpful. And we're going to put more water in the white, wide turn. So we have those beautiful letters now. Look awesome. All right, now we're going to do a few little accents on the chair. So I'm going to come back in with that water and that white. We're going to do a little twirl into the paint. We're just going to add like a light little sketch. There's a little sketch of white. Just kind of following, echoing the shape of the chair. Tiny little lines there. Tiny little lines. A little bit of, I want this black. It's right here. Just make it a little thicker. All right, so we have our nice little white accents on there. And now we're going to start to work on that really pretty green grass. All right, so we've got our yellow and our viridian nearby. We've got some white. We're also going to grab some cadmium green. And some bright yellow green. And I'm going to use my little buddy and mix up some of this green and bright yellow green. A little bit of that viridian in there too. And we're just going to do little pulls up like this. And put white in there as well. And as we're going over the black, you might see a little bit of an outline there. So I am going to add a little bit of this black to this color. It's going to turn it into like a sage. It's also going to help me cover and obscure that black hard line where that starts. And then we're going to have a lot of this grass that's going to come up in front of the chair too. Just straight little pulls up from the base. All right, now that we have that beautiful base, then we can also add a little bit of some highlights in here. So I'm going to come in over the top of that bright yellow green and kind of do quick little pulls of that over the top. All right. It's so beautiful and it is done. All right, so that is our lovely love and light painting. Real simple, fun and easy for beginners. And then when you wait for all this to dry, then I'll have to come back in with the permanent marker and do the little signature in the bottom right-hand corner. But that's it for today. So again, all the supplies that you need, everything for the Love and Light painting kit is on our website at tipsyartist.com. And we just want to thank y'all again so very much for coming out and painting with us today. We just love spending time with y'all, either in our studio or just here in the comfort of your very own home online with me. But yeah, we just pray that y'all have a wonderful day and we'll see you real soon. Much love to y'all. Toodles.